Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Eric.
Oh.
I'm not saying Laura, aka Ho. Well, I just.
Hi, I made you say it.
Tonight we're doing our Gone Too Soon segment for Pacific Palisades. We watched episodes 2 and 3, so I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So before we start, I have like a mental block with the title of the show. I keep typing or thinking Malibu Shores. Like I almost just said Malibu Shores when
Oh.
what we were talking about.
Whoops.
Even when I was looking for episodes, I typed Malibu Shores. I'm like, that's not what we're watching.
That's funny.
Imagine I watched the wrong show. And I'm like, what show did you watch?
Yeah, right. I was like, what's happening?
So where we last left off, the mall collapsed. The bridge at the mall collapsed that
Hmm.
Rachel was at. So it was like, oh no, did Rachel die?
Right. Well, she's in the
um,
credits, so.
yeah, she's still in the credits now.
Yeah.
What's her name? Karen? Karen is Finola Hughes?
No, Kate.
Kate. Kate?
Karen is on Knots Landing.
Oh.
Yeah, Kate.
Had was going to tell her husband Robert that she was pregnant, but before she could,
Yeah.
he told her that he was in love with another woman. I feel like I'm doing the previously on Pacific Palisades.
Previously. Well, it picked up right where it left off, so that's kind of cool.
Um, so do you think that first scene from the pilot, that was the mall?
Hmm.
You do?
What do you mean?
The first scene with Matt and that guy that went boom.
Oh, that they were at the mall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, because that's how I kind of bridged it together in my head.
I
That
didn't know that at the time. And I am confused at some things, but maybe that's because I was sleeping on and off. But I still think I would have been confused anyway.
um so Kate is throwing things at the beginning of this episode. Did you see that part?
Understandably, yes, yes.
Remember when I said I think she turns into like a super bitch?
She does, but I'm sorry.
She has it
She
right.
has every reason. Totally. Yeah. And I don't feel that she knows it. Like, remember, like, conversation she has with Joanna later.
Hmm.
She says, well, we'll talk about what she does soon in a few minutes.
um she did a home test, so that's how she knows she's pregnant, but hasn't gone to a doctor yet. So part of me thought
Right.
maybe she wasn't pregnant, but we do get confirmation that she's pregnant.
Right.
And she hasn't told Robert yet. Um,
Of course.
freaking Laura. Oh, so my friend Matt messaged me, and he said that Erica Olenek, I think that's how you say it, was up
Elenia?
for the role. Yeah, was up for the role of Laura, but she
Oh, I
turned it
love her.
down because of the scene in the pilot where she sleeps with the guy to sell the house.
Really?
Yeah, so
So she didn't
probably
want to be a hoe.
yeah, probably because wasn't she a Playboy model and then she did Baywatch? So maybe she was trying to like
Yes.
change her image and be taken more seriously and not just be all sex all the time.
Right. And that makes sense because, like, she probably wanted a little bit more depth,
Yeah.
where Laura really doesn't have depth. She's this flat out whore in every sense of the word.
Um.
Like she is. Like she's seriously, from what we've seen in these episodes, like she's going after Nick. Like and she, we'll talk about her more, but she's a whore. Like she really is.
Well, our Corey, our neighborhood plastic surgeon, who is being sued for 20 grand, um, pawns the bracelet that he gave to his girlfriend, who's like beating herself up because she thinks she lost it.
Yeah. Beth.
What was her name? Beth. I think her name was
Beth.
Beth.
Yeah. Mm,
Um, well, he doesn't pawn it. He tries to just return it, and the guy
right.
says 5,000, and he's like, "You told me it was worth 10."
Hmm.
And he works it out where like he kind of plays on the guy's insecurities, and he like talks him into plastic surgery. So he gets it for like 10 plus the plastic surgery.
That's the plastic surgery. Yeah. I
Um,
like this guy. I wonder why they recasted him. I wonder if
maybe
there
there
was
was
issues.
behind the scenes drama.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Um,
there could have been.
Also, I was thinking about this today because I don't I don't really remember, but Joan Collins comes on at some point.
Hmm.
Um, I was thinking, I was like, oh, I was like, that makes sense for her to play Finola Hughes' character because they both have like British accent. I don't think she
Right.
plays Finola's mother. I think she plays Laura's mother. And I'm like, that.
She's a,
And in my head, I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. And you know what? I was like, I think I'm mad about that retroactively.
well, I mean, it's the dynasty thing too. I mean, like, why is she British and none of her kids are? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. We have
uh,
many questions. We just like accept that they're just British and nobody else is.
yeah, we'll discuss
Laura
it.
needs a mom. Laura needs a mom. Like, I can't wait to see this stuff. Like, I want to see what she's like. Oh, my daughter's a hoe. Or is she proud of her that she's a hoe? I don't know.
um, Corey ends up playing hardball with the person that's suing him. And he's basically just like, I'll drag your name through the mud. I'll tell them your boobs are fake. Like, if you don't just take
Yeah,
$10
yeah,
grand. So they end
yeah.
up accepting the 10 grand. And I'm guessing maybe he got 20 grand somehow, but he didn't want to pay it. So he bought the bracelet back and he pretended like he found it and gave it back to Beth.
Right.
Um, Meanwhile, him and Laura make a bet because Laura thinks that she could get Nick into bed.
Uh-huh.
Um, they don't flat out
What's he
say what
have?
the circumstances are, but it's insinuated that if she loses, she'll sleep with him.
Right.
Um,
I thought they were already sleeping together though.
right, and then
I guess they will
they
continue to
they
sleep
sleep
together.
together, and he's like, "You lost the bet," and she's like, "I didn't lose it yet." He's like, "Well, you failed tonight," and she was like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's because his wife came home," so she's not giving up on trying to sleep with Nick. And he's like,
Of
"Then what are
course.
you doing now?" And she's like, "This is for fun." So she's just gonna sleep with him anyway because she's oh. Meanwhile, she's like, "You should really, be nice to Beth. Like, she really loves you." And like, what? That's your friend who is renting out your guest house, by the way. So she's at your house right now while you're sleeping with her boyfriend. Okay.
She's a hoe with a heart. And I feel like she'd probably be the type of whore that like once Beth said something, she'd be like, I was just doing it for fun. Like, he's yours. Like I feel like she'd be like, duh, like what's wrong with you?
Listen, I'm all
That's the
for
way
being
she
sex.
acts.
I'm all for being like sex positive, but I feel like they did it trashy.
She banged somebody in every episode so far. In all three episodes, she banged somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
different men. Not even like the same
yeah,
person, different
yeah. It's not the same word. She's a hoe and ho ho ho. Every sense of the word. Like, and I got that, and I told you this in the first episode we did. I said like that's what I got from her in the first 20 minutes. That this girl's a hoe,
You just want
and
to say
here
ho.
it's
You're like ho ho ho. Merry Christmas.
she, she is. Like I can't even picture anybody like her in any other soap that I've seen. It's crazy.
So Rachel makes it. For some reason, Matt and Nick are allowed to be like at ground zero and like digging through the rubble. Like, I'm like, I don't think this is realistic. I don't think a fire department would or police would let like civilians like on a scene like that to help. Do you?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But maybe because their company was involved, maybe they were allowed to be there. But I
Oh, I
don't
didn't
think
think
they'd
about
I don't I don't think they'd be allowed to do anything though, because if there was something shady going on, they'd be
that.
like, like I feel like they have to investigate it. I don't know. I'm not a professional person.
Robert Robert was kind of a dick to Kate. I mean, besides the cheating, like she's trying to have a
Right.
conversation about their marriage and like where they went wrong, and like she doesn't like want like she's trying to like work it out, I guess, and just like talk about it. And
Right.
he's just like not even listening. He gets a phone call about the accident, the mall
Yeah.
thing. So it's all business, and she's like, "I'm trying to talk to you," and he's like, "What? Like, were you even paying attention at all? You're like, were you talking to me? Like, what? What do you?"
Yeah.
I don't like him.
No,
Um,
I don't see why people would. I mean, I don't, but maybe we don't know him well enough yet. I don't know. But Jessica likes him.
Jessica's trying to do the right thing and not like sleep with a married man anymore.
I know.
She's acknowledged her mistake. She's pushing him away. She's kind
I
of
felt
seeing
bad.
well, because you really like her.
Oh, we didn't get to that episode yet. I can't talk about. Sorry. That one's fresh in my mind because I watched the other one last night, so
Oh, okay.
I forgot that what. Go on. Sorry.
Um, so Rachel's fine. Matt ends
Hmm.
up being the hero and drags her out right as like more debris collapses where she was laying.
Yeah.
Um, she basically just ends up having like a broken wrist, and that's it.
Yeah. I guess she was in the hospital for observation.
Yeah. Um, so Kate makes a phone call to I don't know who she was, their travel agent or
Yeah.
secretary, something or other. Oh no, she gets a call from them for the refund for the tickets.
For the tickets. Yeah.
And that's when she finds out that there were 2 tickets, and she asks them who's the name on the other ticket. And this is how she finds out that Jessica is the woman that he has
Yeah.
been having an affair with.
But see, this moves really quick. Like it's a really quick. Like I thought it was going to be a few episodes before she found out, and then we'd be like more upset and like it would go,
Mhm.
like I felt like because then Jessica could have been like, oh, she was kind of doing it the whole time anyway, but whatever, like behind her back.
Right. Um, Nick and Joanna have, like, a shower scene where he kinda, like, tells her, he's like, "I think, Laura was hitting on me." And she's like, "Why would she
Yeah.
do that?" And I'm like, "Don't trust her. Don't trust her."
Um, I don't, I don't know how Joanna would trust her at all. Like that's just crazy. I would have been like, yeah, she probably was because she looks like a hoe. All right,
Um,
I'll stop saying hoe.
I think that was pretty much it for the first, for episode 2.
Um, yeah, I think so. Oh, did you notice the guy that Corey gets involved with?
Uh,
Jake?
that was an episode well, was he in episode 2?
He was in episode 2.
Yeah, Harold from Not Flanders.
Yeah. It's funny. I wasn't sure if you'd know because I honestly didn't notice until episode 3, and I was like,
Me too.
wait a minute.
Me too.
I couldn't tell, and then when I looked him up, and I was like, that is Harold. I thought it was him, but he looked kind of different, so I wasn't 100% sure.
Because I think it's almost like it's like 7 or 8 years after Knots. But,
Yeah, which isn't too many years after.
I did like a double take, and then because then I was like, "Is that Harold?" And I listened to his voice, and I'm like, "That's Harold." Like, I didn't even
That's
have to look it up. I
Harold.
was like, "I know that's him."
I
Um,
looked because I never know anything. I'm like, I have to look it up.
and okay, this is the second time I'm watching it, but it's been over 5 years. I wonder if I knew that back then, because I it was like brand new information for me today.
Right.
So I could have known it and just been like shocked, but um
Oh, what's it called? Isn't Kate and what's his name? Robert are like screwing over each other too. Because remember Kate, I forget what
oh,
happened.
he like canceled the credit cards.
He canceled the credit cards and Kate
She
changed the
locked him out of
locks.
the house.
I thought that was cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they're both like screwing each other like real quick.
So
Like he has the nerve. He has a nerve. Like to fuck her cards up. Like I would have been like, I would have went right to him, been like, motherfucker, what?
well, I think that he did that in retaliation to her locking him out of the house.
Probably. Well, yeah, I guess
That's to
so.
defend him.
But he deserved it. He
um,
crushed her. That wasn't cool.
so I guess she owns part of the company, or maybe just because they're married, she's considers herself to
Probably.
own part of the company.
She probably does.
So she pays a visit to the office in episode 3.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Why is everybody being awkward and staring at me?" She's like, "It's fine, we're fine." She's like, "It's an amicable split." I'm like, "Okay."
Right.
So she's like, "Maybe I should make an announcement." And she reiterates that it's an amicable split, and it's not uncomfortable between them, so nobody else should feel uncomfortable. And she's like, "Right, Jessica?" And that's when
Yeah.
she basically calls her a whore in front of everybody.
No, she did. She called her a horse
Whore is
slut.
what she settled on, but she called her a few other things before that.
Yeah. Yep. And she called her everything. Um, and I felt bad for Jessica, but honestly, she deserved it a little bit because she did keep the affair going. I get it. She wanted to change, but you kind of did deserve a little bit of more guilt, you know? Like, I like her, but she kind of deserved it. Hey, she didn't get slapped in the face, you know? She should have probably.
Surprised, actually, that there were no bitch slaps.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like it might be building up. You know,
Hmm.
like kind of like a slow and steady type thing.
Yeah. I feel like
We'll
if
see.
Kate keeps going after her, she's just gonna snap and slap her.
Exactly. Exactly.
She might even be like, "Yeah, I fucked your man, and I'll do it again." Like she might just like turn for the dark side.
Yes, you know, it looks like it might be heading in that direction.
um, so Matt is trying to get her to like move on and be with him, even if it's just for one night, I guess.
Hmm.
And she's humiliated. She wants to leave town, resign. Beth is telling her not to do that, but she she gets a call from Matt, who basically convinces her to drive up to Santa Barbara for a few days.
Yeah.
So she goes, um, and I think she says to Beth, "Oh, he's a gentleman. He's getting 2 separate rooms." Yeah, he gets 2 rooms, but 2 adjoining rooms.
Yeah. But he's still a gentleman, I guess, about it. I
Mhm.
mean,
So
I
you
don't
sent
know. I
me
don't know what
the
his plan was.
was it the Coke? Was it Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke commercial that he was in.
Yeah, wasn't it funny?
And that was like in 95, right? I think it said.
Yeah, I think
It was
so.
2 years before this. I feel like he looked
Uh-huh.
aged a lot in 2 years, like, from 95 to 97. Like, he looked a little bit aged to me.
I remember that was a thing about him. He was like this hot guy that like got a late start in his career. So he didn't act until like he was in his 30s or something.
Okay.
And I think he was a model. Like I just remember it being a thing. I remember because I was in high school then, and I just remember like the commercials and they were talking about the series and stuff, and I'm like, I just knew about him.
Well, even in so, like, in 95, like, he has a hairy chest.
Right.
There came a point, I don't know if it was, like, the late 90s and into the 2000s, where every
Everybody
male
shaves.
model was, like, waxed and, like, wet
Right.
seals, like, they did not have body hair.
He was the last of the hairy chest men.
Um,
Those commercials crack me up though, and they're all like looking at him and they're like, "Ooh,"
I
like
mean,
it's their lunch break.
I get
There's there's a bunch of them. Look them up. It's funny. There's like
it.
10 of them.
I don't remember those commercials, honestly, at all.
Hmm.
Hmm. Um, so so Rachel is coming home from from the hospital,
Hmm.
and Joanna's kind of like being like overbearing and overprotective. She what's her name? Oh, Ashley and the guy Michael, I think his name is,
Michael. Mm,
come to visit her, and Joanna's not like having it. She's like, no. She's like, you should have took her with you, and she wouldn't have been hurt. Um,
right.
so she's not really feeling them as new friends or good friends,
I guess little did she know that they were like going to look for weed
right?
and alcohol.
Or that her sister's the one that had the fake ID.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, I feel like we need to know more about her backstory because there's a reason why her and her mother didn't get along and why
Which
she's with
one?
her sister, Rachel.
Rachel?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I need to know like
Well,
what trouble she got
I
in.
wonder I wonder if her mother comes on at some point. She's not dead, right?
I don't remember. No, she's
They
not
didn't
dead.
say she's dead.
No,
I mean,
because
I
they
would
don't.
assume the mother would come back eventually.
Yeah, because they don't talk
Hopefully.
about her like she's dead. Because she talks about her like I had to get out of there because like we were just fighting all the time.
You know what it could have been too? It could have been like a build up. Like it could have been like maybe like if there was a season two, they might have casted the mother and it might have been like Donna Mills or something cool, you know?
Oh,
Because
maybe.
that's what Aaron Spelling liked to do. He liked, he brought on the big guns,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I think
Uh, like bringing on Joan Collins already, he was probably already, and I get it, probably for ratings, but at the same time, I feel like he always liked to do that. He did it in Melrose Place. He did it in like a lot of things.
I read if Titans had continued, he was trying to get Joan Collins on Titans.
Mm,
I think I heard
that
that.
would have been good.
I think she was the one as Yasmin Bleeth's mother.
That would have been good.
Yeah, Victoria Principal and Joan Collins.
Yes, everything. Well, that's like Models Inc. when they got Emma Samms with Linda Gray.
I
That
haven't.
was great. Hmm?
I haven't seen. I only watched maybe the first 10 episodes of Models Inc. So I. That's why when you were like showing me Emma Sam's, I'm like, I don't know her.
Uh, You've probably seen everything up until Emma Sam's in everything that you ever watched.
I haven't watched the Colbys. I haven't seen her seasons of Dynasty. I don't know Emma Sam's. Like, I just know of her. I've never actually seen her in action.
Poor Emma.
I'm always like in her orbit, but not actually like at her.
You're six you're 6 degrees from Emma Sam's.
Yeah. um. So what else happened? Oh, so Rachel is now lying to Joanna, saying she has to go to the library to study, which I think she does a little bit, but she goes to hang out with her new boyfriend. Did they go to like a club? Because I feel like they were dancing.
I don't know.
And
Like, yeah,
I'm like,
maybe.
what club did they go to that she was still able to get back to the library by 9:15?
Yeah, who knows?
Doesn't make sense.
No.
Um, so Matt goes to, I think his name was Walter, the guy that blew up in the car in the pilot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He goes to his house to retrieve files, I guess, regarding, I don't know if they were like blueprints or plans for the mall or
The
whatever.
fi
The
the
files.
files that got stolen from the car.
But when he
Oh, we
goes
forgot. Did we
there,
forget? Did we forget to mention that? That was in the last episode. The files were stolen from his car.
I thought it was
I
episode
think we.
3.
No, I thought it was two, but I don't know. Maybe not. I don't
What we're talking about now. Um,
remember.
so
Sidetrack.
he goes to get the files, but Nick has already paid her a visit and gotten the files.
Right.
Now, this actress that plays his wife, I'm assuming that's his wife. Um, she was on 90210.
Of course she was.
She was. You watched 90210, right? So if I talk about it, you know what I'm talking
I did. So I'm very familiar with the first 4 years. I've seen them multiple times, but as
about.
the
Okay.
whole series, I've only watched it one time,
Oh, really?
all the way through. Hmm.
Oh, I watched it like at least probably 10 times my whole life.
Hence why I didn't remember what you were talking about when Donna was a stalker last last time. I
Because I
was
was the
like,
Valerie years.
yeah, it was, yeah, the Valerie years I don't really know too much about, but
Okay, so this happened in season 4. Do you remember when Dylan got like a secret sister, like a little
hmm
girl?
yeah.
She played the little girl's mother
Oh, okay.
that like scammed him out of all his money with her boyfriend.
Right, right.
It was
Yeah, that was
her.
good. All
Um,
right.
yep, Aaron Spelling connection, reusing his actors.
Oh, for sure. I like it too because I like those actors that he uses.
um, so when did Nick's car get broken into? Where was he?
Let me see if
I feel like his car got broken into, and he like never like mentioned it until he like went back to the wife to be like, "I'm sorry, I lost the files." I was like, he never even like had a reaction until like his car was broken into.
yeah, right.
So Matt ends up getting the files. Um, Nick ends up visiting the ground zero, I guess. And he's being watched by this like bald guy.
Matt's the one that stole the files, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have. It was the last I have. Chats. Matt breaks into a car and steals files.
Uh, Laura is informed by her boss that he's selling the business.
Mm,
And she's worried what that's going to mean for her contracts and her commission. And he's like, well, your contract will just go to the new owner. And she's like, what if they try to lower my commission? And she's like, what if they don't advertise as well and I lose money? So then he's like, well, you could always buy the business. And she's like, I have to get money. So
however, would she get money?
so she goes to Corey, who's the brokest plastic surgeon in town, but also has we learn has like a gambling problem.
That was so funny. I'm like, why would she ask him?
Maybe
Does
she's
he hide
unaware.
that? I was gonna say, like, does he hide the fact that he's piss poor?
um Yeah, I feel like his story really ramped up as far as like his gambling problem because like he's supposed to have dinner with Beth and he gets paged and
Yeah.
he makes it seem like it's a hospital emergency, but it's Harold from Knots Landing basically telling him about him.
Oh, Harold. How dare he?
Could you imagine if he says, "Oh, my wife Olivia"?
I would have loved it. That would have been amazing.
um, and apparently he's not winning, but he writes like a $5,000 check, and then he has lots of cash. So we didn't see it, but he must have had a windfall and won towards the end. So yeah, so she can't get money from Corey because he's broke.
Right.
Um, and so now she gets it in her head that she goes to pay Beth a visit, and she gets it in her head that she's going to get Robert to invest.
Mm.
So she finds out he's living at a hotel, and she says, "Oh, she's like, I'll show you some bachelor pads." And he's like, I really." She's like, "No." She's like, "After work." She's like, "I'll tell Beth." Like she doesn't even give him an option.
Yeah, it doesn't give an option.
So she sets up a scene. She gets like a bottle of champagne on ice. She gets towels. Basically, I think she's planning to seduce him.
Of course, she gets the hot tub going.
And I'm like, is she just gonna sleep with everybody in the neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's already sleeping with Corey. She's got her eyes set on Nick, and I was like, now she's gonna sleep with
Mm-hmm.
Robert.
Yeah,
um,
but he don't go for it. Thank God. Yet. Anyway.
so he likes the place, and he doesn't want to invest in it because with the divorce, like he'll have to like split everything with Kate. I keep wanting to call her Karen, Kate.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, she tells him about like going in on buying the company, the real estate company, as like a silent investor
Mm-hmm.
and not telling Kate. And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, she takes all care of all our finances to begin with. He's like, it'll just be worse if I try to hide my assets from her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's not going for it. So she's
Poor
defeated.
hoe.
And she decides she's going to go in the hot tub since she's there. He leaves. She goes in the hot
Leaves.
tub. This scene didn't play out like I thought it would. I thought he was gonna come back like, "Oh, I forgot my phone," and see her in the hot tub, and then end up in the hot tub, and then sleep with her, and then decide he's gonna invest. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I thought kind of the same thing because I'm like, it just ended with her. She goes in there naked, and I'm like, and then it kind of just pans for a minute. I'm like, all right, I guess something's gonna happen. But
Okay,
yeah, I didn't see that.
did you see when she was, like, pouring champagne on herself in the hot tub? I'm like, "Why is she doing that?"
Who knows?
She was alone, she was just, like, with the champagne.
It's what hoes do.
Big old whore bath.
uh, a hoe shower.
Oh my god.
We're
So, the actual owner of the house comes and sees her in the hot tub.
that was funny. I was glad it happened, although I knew what was gonna happen.
And he was, like, mad at Hal, and she's like, "Oh, I was showing a listing." He's like, "But that doesn't give you, like, free reign of, like, the utilities to use at your leisure." And she's like, "I've had a really bad day." He's like, "So have I." And then she's like, "Surely there's something I could do to, like, make you, like, forget about this," because he, like, threatens to pull the listing.
Right, right.
So, obviously, she drops the towel and shows off all her goodies. Uh,
Yep.
and
And now
she
now
gets
she
him
has
to
someone to
invest.
buy. Right. Now she has someone to buy the company. Yay.
He says 30%
Ho
over 10
wins.
years, and she's like, "How about 5?" And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds reasonable."
Yeah, right. He's like, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. I'm trying to think if, like, what were the cliffhangers?
What in this episode?
Oh, Robert found out that, Karen
Kate's pregnant.
Kate that Kate's
Damn it.
um,
Confused and not landing.
inadvertently from the doctor.
Yeah.
Um, oh, so I was unclear in, Santa Barbara. Jessica and Matt went out to dinner, they had a few drinks, they were kissing. She kinda
Hmm.
stops it, he knocks on the adjoining door. He comes into the room. She says that door is supposed to remain locked. He locks it while he's still in her room, and they kiss some more. Did they sleep together, or did they stop?
No,
They didn't.
they stopped. And then he
They
went back
didn't.
to the
She
room.
says, yeah, they didn't. So he's in his room, shirtless, looking sexy, and then he decides to go check on her, and she's left.
Yeah. She rolled out.
Apparently, she took a taxi from Santa Barbara all the way back to the office.
It must have been a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
gonna I'm gonna map quest that. See how much money that would
Santa Barbara
cost.
Pacific Palisades. Not Malibu.
Right? Yeah. I want to say probably like one something, 150.
If not more.
Yeah, if not more.
Because
We'll see.
to go to the airport from here in a Uber is almost $200, if not more.
What?
Yeah, depending on the time of day. And it's only like 45 minutes away.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Uber's
Damn.
not as cheap as it used to be.
Huh.
Um, so Nick is there, and she basically is like, I can't. I've been trying to fight it, but I can't stop thinking about you. She's like, hence why I took a cab from Santa Barbara all the way here.
Yeah.
Um, does he tell her Kate's pregnant?
No. He just hugs her.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. Um,
That was basically it, I think. That was the
I
end.
wasn't sure if we
They
were supposed to
hugged.
be rooting for them, like they're like the star-crossed lovers that like obstacles keep getting in their way that they can't officially be together.
I don't think you're supposed to root for anyone. I feel like I thought like Kate, well now like I wouldn't want him and Kate together because he screwed her over. I mean, he fell in love with somebody else. Like who wants to be with someone that's in love with someone else? You know?
That's kind of my problem with Aaron Spelling shows, at least like the 90s on up. I feel like
Right.
I can never invest in a couple because I feel like it's all plot, plot, plot. Like it doesn't matter how they feel in one episode because it's going to change in the next episode.
Well, see, and that's why I like the first season of Melrose Place. A lot of people don't, but I like it because it actually probably could have been a little bit more well written if they had stuck with that path. But since the ratings were low, they felt like they had to just plot it up, and that's what they did, and that's how it is. And that's probably but you're right, like a lot of things are like a lot of plot. Like Dynasty was kind of similar in ways. Some things got to build up a little bit, but mostly, there'd be a lot of plot that just confused you
Like Melrose
sometimes.
Place, I feel like a couple was together for like maybe maybe 10 episodes because they had like 30
Mm,
plus episodes a season. So they'd have like
right.
10 episodes, they break up, and then a new relationship for another 10 episodes, and then like for the end of the season, there was somebody else.
And that's why I was never like a big Peter and Amanda fan because they weren't together for like 2 seasons. And then
Mhm.
like they were with different people, and then all of a sudden they're faking their death and getting married. I'm like, what? I didn't want that in the finale. I'm like, who wanted that?
Why is
I
that?
thought that was I thought that was one of the shittiest finales I've ever seen. I was like, what's they were with different people the entire season, and then they're getting mad. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, back to Pacific
Yeah, and then
Palisades.
like what's her name? Jane and Kyle were together, and I felt like that came out of nowhere.
It did. I wanted like Jane and Michael should have been Endgame. Like if that was the last season, it started out really good. I mean, why are we talking Melrose Place? We got to get back to Pacific.
It's all Aaron spelling.
Yeah, but it got on my nerves because they wrote pretty good in the first part
When
of
she came
season
back.
7,
Yeah.
and then the last like 10 episodes were like shit. Like I'm like, what happened? Although season 7 was a mess of a season. I kind of wish it just ended in season 6.
Um.
But anyway,
Oh, so Joanna catches Rachel at the library with her boyfriend,
yeah,
Michael. Even though Rachel specifically came back early so she wouldn't get caught, Joanna came even earlier, thinking maybe she'd be done earlier.
you're not my mother. I knew, yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew that
Right.
was coming.
Mhm.
I'm like, come on.
um,
Um,
I think that was everybody.
um, there was something else I wanted to say. What was it?
I'm trying to think if there was anything with Kate.
Oh, I want to understand this mall shit. So the papers were thinking. So I'm thinking Robert hired somebody and knew that they were building with shitty material, right? That's what I think it's coming down to. Because
You think?
remember, in this episode, Nick went to the mall and he looked at something and he said, "Oh, this isn't like quality." I forget what he said. I should have wrote it,
Yeah.
but he said something along the lines that like they shouldn't have built with it, basically. And
Hmm.
there was somebody watching him.
Well, because
So was I
they said a report was run and that everything was on the up and up and like it was all good quality,
right?
whatever.
Well,
And then good
that's
quality
what
brand,
Robert
whatever.
said.
Yeah,
That's what Robert said, but I don't know. Was that true, or was he just trying to get Nick off the track?
I'm
And
not
then,
really sure what Robert knows because I almost feel like Robert doesn't know, and this is Matt's doing. I'm not really
okay,
sure what Robert knows.
oh, okay. So you think maybe Matt. I'm just trying to think of like how it would lead to that guy's death. Like, because I guess he knew what
Because
Matt was doing.
Matt knew that that car was going to explode because he cut the
So
brakes and whatever.
I'm so I'm thinking like Matt works for Robert, correct?
Hmm.
So he probably just got shitty materials, build it, and bang for the rest of that money is what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
Because if whatever money that was left, it was probably a lot of money.
Hmm.
And but then I don't know. I guess he has somebody. He must have people working for him because like that guy was looking at Nick like
Yeah.
weird. So I was like, okay. So yeah, I was just that's I know this is like the major plot, so I'm trying to like understand it so I know what's going on, like one word.
Mm.
But that's what I'm getting from it.
Well, I guess we'll have to
But
see.
yeah, maybe Robert doesn't know. Maybe you're right.
I really don't
I guess
know.
that would,
I know there's more twists to
yeah.
come. I just don't know what they are. I really don't remember at all.
All right.
So it's
That's
all
good.
brand
I know that's how I feel with like a lot of stuff. Like I've seen so many soaps. Like if I'm not watching that soap, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm
new.
like I just watched all of Knots Landing. If you asked me when something happened, what season, I'd be like, I don't really know. When did Abby marry Gary? I'd be like, 4 or 5. I don't know. Maybe 6. Yeah, it's too many soaps. So
All right. Well, 3 down, 10 to go. Episode
yeah, it's good.
1.
I like it. I like watching it. It's good.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Gone Too Soon, Pacific Palisades. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Bye. Oh
What?
no, I said ho.
Oh, I thought you said, oh, like you had something else to say.
If there's a
Goodbye.
drinking game and they say ho.
Goodbye.